What up, meatheads? This is Travis, American Butcher, and this is the Meat Block Podcast. This is the weekly podcast, and sometimes we put out more than one episode a week, and we call those bonus episodes, and that's what this is. In this episode, I got the opportunity to talk to the American team representing us, the red, white, and blue, in the WBC, the World's Butchers Challenge. And if you're new to the program and don't know what the WBC World's Butchers Challenge is, it is a competition. It is our Olympics. It is a biannual, meaning once every 2 years, I believe, not once or twice a year. I think it's, or semi-annual is what it would be. Thank you for bearing with me while I discovered what words mean. So nonetheless, I got the opportunity to interview John, team captain, as well as his entire team, about their backgrounds and their expectations about Ireland. So please sit back and enjoy the Meat Block Podcast. And before we get started, please head on over to iTunes, leave a 5-star review, and please leave a comment. All right, enjoy the show.
Good cutting enhances the quality of good meat. In his way, the meat cutter is an artist. Poor cutting results in an inferior piece of meat, regardless of quality.
Just real quick, wanted to interview you guys for an upcoming episode of my podcast, The Meat Block. Earlier today, I interviewed Rod Slater, the CEO. Who? Rod Slater, the CEO of the WBC.
Okay.
And so the event's getting closer. Just wanted to, it's great that we're able to do this. And real quick, how did you guys meet one another? Did you guys know each other before the competition?
Yeah, I think several of us knew each other. Me and Craig and John, and we worked together a little bit. And Paul and Danny through Tia and Lothar as well.
Okay. And then your team is through the Butchers Guild. What is the Butchers Guild for people listening?
Tia, you want to know that?
We have Tia. She's our organizer.
The founder.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
So we're a national organization of butchers in the United States that focus on whole animal butchery. Over the years, we have hosted conferences and educational online education, in-person education. I've worked with everybody here in some capacity over the last 8 years. So that's how the team was formed.
Okay. And then how could people who are listening to this who are butchers, what's the website they could find out more about the Butchers Guild?
TheButchersGuild.org.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then who are you guys individually? Brian, we know each other through social media. I know that.
Yeah, pretty much. I've been about 23 years in Austin, Texas. Mm-hmm. I run my shop, Salt and Time. We focus on whole animal butchery. We've been open about 5 years. Social media has been a huge, I think, a breakout component to butchery and this resurgence that we've seen. Mm-hmm. Stuff like Instagram. I won't even mention Facebook, but Instagram especially has really been helping us branch out to people all over the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Where's everyone else from?
Go ahead, Lothar.
Okay. I'm Lothar. Mm-hmm. I'm from Virginia, Northern Virginia, 50 miles west of Washington, D.C. So, I'm originally from Germany. I'm classical trained since 1978. I'm 40 years in the butchering business. I'm a craft master butcher. I joined in Germany the apprenticeship with vocational school, then the master title as a craft master butcher, and I'm in U.S. since 2006. I opened Lothar's Butchery and Gourmet Sausages in 2008. We have this year 10 years, my 40 years on the World Championship. I have a lot to celebrate this year.
Oh, awesome! So congratulations.
I have a lot of followers on the farmers markets. I run my own butcher shop in Northern Virginia, and I'm glad in the team United States of America, and I can say we are a band of brothers.
Okay, awesome.
So I'm focusing more about my German heritage. There is a lot of more sausages in the game than a lot of meat cuts. But the meat cuts we do in two, and in my shop we offer around about 150 different kinds of sausages. So next,
Greg. So I'm Craig, and unlike everybody else here, I have more of a chef background, and basically for the past 10 years, I did a lot of whole animal, basically in the form of whole animal butchery, but mostly charcuterie work. I think that's probably where more people got to know me from, was the extensive amount of charcuterie that we did basically in Charleston, South Carolina. Probably about 9 months ago, the restaurant sold. The charcuterie business, I've kind of been out of it. I now run a restaurant in Cornelius, North Carolina called Hello Sailor. And, I'm more fish oriented now. But, meat's always been my number one kind of favorite thing to work with. And I'm just a proud member of the team that really appreciates being a part of it.
Awesome.
John?
Yeah, so I'm John Fink with The Whole Beast. I'm in San Francisco. The Whole Beast has been going a little over 10 years, and I come from a chef background, but The Whole Beast, we were doing whole animal cooking and whole animal utilization. And I know all these people through the Butchers Guild and some festivals, Eat Real, Food and Wine, and just been in the business, and you just start to run into people and start doing some events with them. And I'm super proud and honored to be part of the team. And we're just go USA, and we're gonna do our best.
Yeah, awesome.
Mm-hmm. We got Paul here.
Paul Curris, youngest guy on the team.
Yeah, go Paul.
So
Best looking guy.
I've been at Taylor's Market for 22 years here in Sacramento.
Okay.
I've been cutting meat since 1998, so I'm at 20 years now cutting meat. I was trained by Danny Johnson, our captain here, is a good friend of mine. So he's pretty much my only instructor. He's taught me everything about whole animals, meat cases, butchery, and so I owe a lot of credit to this guy right here for helping me out. But super pumped to be on the team. Got a great group of guys, and we'll see where this takes us.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. My name's Danny Johnson. I've been a butcher for 35 years. It's pretty much anything. The only thing I ever wanted to do was be a butcher.
Mm-hmm.
Been at Taylor's Market since May of 1983. My wife and I have been owners since 87. And just the craft of butchery has always been alive and thriving here on this corner.
Yeah.
We're just happy to be being able to share what we know with the rest of the world, and hopefully start a pretty good conversation in the United States about butchery, local butchers, and getting this craft back to where every little store has a little butcher shop in it.
Yeah. And then that brings me to a great question that, American style butchery is a collection of different cultures, and you're going up against countries that have been cutting the same way. What style would you describe American butchery, and what could people expect to see without giving away secrets or, things like that?
I think there's a misconception that if we have a bandsaw, that we're pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And we do a lot of, seaming muscles out and old school breaking.
Yeah.
So it's not just all, bandsaw.
Yeah.
There was a statement made when this whole thing started about the American team that basically said that, to be a butcher in America, if you can cut a T-bone on a saw, you're good. So
that ain't
good. I think we're kind of going to show them a little bit differently than that.
Good. Awesome. And then each of you have a specialty background that you're bringing to the team. what do you? I guess what do you think your casework is going to look like? Because I see these photos of the past events and what their casework looks like.
Who wants to answer that? I mean,
We're celebrating the
answer.
American region. So, like, all of us are, like Texas, the South, the Northeast, California, and we're kind of bringing all those regions, the big melting pot to the table. So,
you're going to see some specific cuts in those regions. We're going to do a Texas-style brisket. We're going to do a Santa Maria-style tri-tip.
Okay.
We really want to, just kind of tell the story, as short as it may be, of American butchery. What we really like to sell and eat here.
Yeah.
We were going through our cuts today, and we have a lot of grilling cuts, and we were kind of like, "Hey, there's too many grilling cuts," but hey, man, that's what we do.
Yeah.
We cook outdoors, and we cook big pieces of meat, and we like it.
We would like to say this is the art of butchery. What we are doing.
Mm-hmm.
We are a multi-culti culinary mixture here in America, and this makes us very, very different from the other countries as well too.
Yeah, and I would say I would perceive it as an advantage.
Correct.
And then,
as a short, we are not the guys be making a French rack lamb. Then France is in the competition. We will not make an Italian style porchetta, right? While the Italian in the team as well too. We will not make a German bratwurst, right?
yeah.
So the Germans in the team as well too. But of the another side, a little bit fun must be there too. Everybody knows my big fat Greek wedding. Everything comes from the Greek, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the Greek are in the team too, but they have to be a little bit quieter. And this one, not everything comes from the Greek. Or we have our Greeks here in America. It's all okay. Yeah. Everything will be fine.
To sum it up, we just got done with a practice run.
Mm-hmm.
We created everything that we want to do in Belfast.
Okay.
And we were pretty happy with what we did.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked, I guess to put a word on it, would be badass.
Awesome.
It looked pretty badass. We were pretty happy.
Yep.
Yeah. And that was going to be my next question was, are you guys going there with a cut sheet, or are you developing the cut sheet there? But it sounds like you guys already have a cut sheet all figured out.
We absolutely have a playbook.
Okay. Yeah.
Everybody knows what they're doing.
So they're going to have built-in idiosyncrasies, so it flows.
Right.
Yeah. We're actually judged as a criteria as corporation communication, working together.
This is our fifth practice.
Okay, that's.
And we've been working on a sixth practice. Yeah, sixth practice. We've been working on this playbook since August.
Yeah.
From the very first time we started, we tweaked it many times. In January is when we finally pinned it down.
Mm-hmm.
With no budget, we have to sing in front of the church, on the stairs and hold the basket as we get some money together,
So we've, we have a complete schedule of how we want to do it. We have it timed out, as I'm sure the other teams have done the same thing.
Yeah. Now, would you view that geographically, America being so big as a disadvantage versus like some of the smaller countries where it's easier to practice?
Absolutely. That's been one of the biggest challenges is raising enough money to get everybody here in one spot consistently.
Yeah.
And there's been, every one of us has sacrificed family time, business time in order to do this.
Yeah.
But people see the fact that we've been getting some press and people are like, hey, that's pretty cool. But it's a tremendous amount of work. And logistically, it's a little bit of a nightmare.
Yeah. Well,
this is what John F. Kennedy said. What can do for your country? Yeah. This is for us very important. And when we coming back and we bring the torch back here to the United States, then we would like to give the torch to the next generation to raise the art of butchery here in the United States of America. This our craftsmanship and our guild and everything what has to do with the art of butchery, this goes with it forward. Like in the 60s, 70s, the whole world was laughing over the wine of America, what the Americans know about wine. We proved that we Americans make one of the best wine. In 2016, the American cooking team, the sent a team to Lyon in the city of Paul Bocuse, the world best chef. The team America won the Golden Leaf, the world championship in cooking. There was 1 year preparing. We are the butchers. of America, and we will win the World Butcher Challenge in Belfast to bring more butchers in the craft back.
Awesome. And then I do got, I don't know, I was asking Rod where the next competition would be, and he said right now that there's several countries and cities, including Sacramento, and he's rooting for it to be in Sacramento in 2 years. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah.
We're working pretty hard to get it here. We've got our end lined up. The city's behind us. The city leaders are behind us. The governor actually is behind us.
Awesome.
So that's all good news. The problem we're having is communicating and getting numbers from the World Butcher Council to get accurate numbers in order for us to make an accurate bid.
Yeah.
And they're not, it's not so much them, it's the organizers in Belfast that aren't sharing the information with us.
Yeah. Well,
so that's a little bit of challenge. We don't want to write a blank check.
Yeah. Well, it would be good for me because my parents live next to Sleep Train. So
okay. Well, that's going to be at the Golden One Center, the new arena. We already have the date. We have a working date. We have a commitment from them. We have the dates reserved. The city's given us. We're not being charged for the arena.
Okay.
We have the meet lined up with the different ranchers. There are ranchers going, "Hey, I want to be involved," and I'm like, "You're not at the top of the list."
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot of buzz in this region about getting this here in the United States.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I know you guys are busy, so I just got two more questions. What are each of your favorite cut or meat dish to prepare for yourself? It could be as esoteric or as common as you would like it.
Right.
Right now I can't eat enough bottom sirloin flap or bavette or steak tails or whatever you want to call it. It's a dynamite cut that you can cook so many different ways. You can do tartare, you can grill, you can butterfly, roulade, whatever you want to do with it. When I first started cutting, we'd buy it in flat bags and we'd grind it. Now it's actually a pretty damn popular cut.
Yeah. Awesome.
Denver's my number one favorite.
Okay, sweet.
I like a Delmonico steak.
Okay.
2-inch thick, pepper, salt, and butter in the cast iron pan.
Okay. And then I've gotten in this debate with people. What do you, it seems like the definition of Delmonico it changed.
A Delmonico steak is between a New York strip and a ribeye steak.
Okay. Awesome.
So to explain, ribeye, fat eye. On Delmonico is right. Isn't the same piece of the meat. We call it the export rib, boneless export rib. And from the whole thing, the first 5 steaks, 6 cutting steaks, and around about 1.25 inches belongs in direction to the chuck. This I call is a ribeye, and without this marbling fat eye, I call it is a Delmonico steak.
Okay.
John?
Yeah, I like some of the otter ones. I like the oyster steaks, spider steak. I like the beef neck. That's a real hard cut. That's why a whole animal butchery, you have the luxury of getting that. And I'm a big fan of the chuck flap, that kind of hidden short rib. So I like, I kind of veer away from the ribeye or the fillet or the New York. But yeah, I like the otter cuts. But the spider, that oyster cut, I love that.
Awesome.
Paul?
I have 2 young kids, so we're on a tight budget here with daycare. So I'm pinching pennies. I get 20% off, but I'm a big chuck eye steak fan.
Awesome.
So I get a chuck eye steak, a little salt and pepper, and save some money at the same time. But I think it's a great cut. I think a lot of people actually don't know about it. So I'm a big chuck eye.
Awesome.
Chuck eye steak, salt and pepper. That's the way to go. Simple.
I'm going to go simpler than that. Cheeseburger.
Awesome.
Flat ass cheeseburger. That's the best for me.
And then my last question is just, I get asked this a lot. I get people wanting to know how to get in this industry, and I could only tell them my advice. But what advice would you give to young people or people of any age who want to get in the meat industry, who want to be a butcher?
Go ahead, bro. Let me fill this first. Much like probably everybody here, you get a lot of questions about learning and everything. Consistently, what folks do to me is they're not patient enough to learn. And I try to get people to commit to a year and a half of apprenticeship, which is really not even that long of apprenticeship. It's no more than 3 months in, and they want to start breaking down my 1,500-pound Wagyu carcasses. And I'm like, kid, man, I don't even know where to begin with you. I can't even trust you to sweep the floor or do some basic stuff. You got to be patient in learning. It's not an insurmountable amount of information to learn by any means. But to be technically proficient, you need to listen to people who know. Finding a place to learn, that's a challenge in and of itself, but there's enough shops opening up all the time. They're looking for butchers. If you're looking for a job, Austin, Texas, come see me. I will give you an opportunity to cut something. You're not going to cut my Wagyu, but you'll cut something. We were actually talking today about, a school. I know Carrie Underley's started her school, and I think she's got a good program started. I think we're due for schools to start popping up again. I went to a trade school, much like Danny did. I was one of the last classes to go through that, and they shut the program down because they went from 70 enrollment that only 14 graduated to the next year like less than 20, and they just nixed the program, and that was unfortunate, But I think all that's coming back, and I think as long as people are persistent, I always tell people, be persistent, but don't be a pest. You'll get your shot. There's so few opportunities to do what they think they want to do in the beginning. It's taken me 25 years to build a $4,000 or $5,000 carcass to work on. I'm not going to let somebody train on that. And they get upset because they don't get to do that, and that's hard to deal with as an owner operator. Because I want them to learn. That's my 2 cents on it.
Awesome,
Ryan or Craig. I get them in a completely different way because for me it was always I want to learn to do charcuterie. Well, what comes first? Being a good charcuterie maker or being a good butcher? I don't buy a whole pig so that I can just make charcuterie because I want to grind the whole thing. I buy a whole pig because I want to sell the pork chops. I want to sell the neck roll, slowly cooked. I want to sell the belly before I even make, if I can sell it without having to grind it or do anything cured, I want to make money right away. And trying to explain to them the process of what we would do is to preserve the carcass so that we don't waste anything. They want to just I just want to buy the whole carcass and turn the whole thing into, prosciuttos and copas. And realistically, you sell that stuff first as your bread and butter to pay for the carcass. Then it's the bits and pieces that you slowly generate to get good at that craft. And, by getting good and well-known at it, all of a sudden, you're no longer being known for your pork chop. You're now being known for your charcuterie. So you go from having to buy one pig to do your pork chops and all this to all of a sudden, hey, we're selling 45, 50, charcuterie plates a night. And now I have to buy 2 pigs every week to do just charcuterie work, which is that's a great problem to have because then it's easy to train people how to do charcuterie, but you still save certain cuts to market as, hey, we're a restaurant. We're still going to sell these cuts.
Yeah, you're still going to have your pork chop.
Yeah, exactly. But then, the other, asinine aspect is I have a 1,500. I have a 1,500 square foot space and a 300 square foot walk-in, and the walk-in is full. How do I put more in it?
Yeah.
And if you don't put more in it, you run out of product in 6 to 8 months. And we did everything below 40 degrees, start to finish. Even fermentation, good old-fashioned way. It wasn't how fast can we get it done, but how long can we hold on to it to where it's all about flavor developmentation and things tasting a certain way. And when it takes longer, it tastes better. So we kind of focused on that and do things a certain way for a certain specific reason. But it was also due to our local, health inspectors and everything. and you work with them, and that was the education of being able to tell people what we did. In some cases, they were like, "You're crazy. You're out of your mind. I can't believe you do it." But at the same time, it's don't fight it, work with it scenario. So, so there was a lot of that going on. So, but anyway, that's my 2 cents on training people and getting them invigorated. And it comes down to being a good butcher and valuing the quality of the meat first, and then figuring out how do I use everything that's now left over, including the skin, the bones, and all of the offal cuts.
Mm-hmm.
Luther?
Young butchers. It's the same what Brian said. Takes patience. For me as well too. I have an apprenticeship behind me from 3 years, plus the vocational school. Then you would like to make the master title, you need number 2 years at the artisan butcher. After the apprenticeship, you get the free speaking from the chamber and everything, but you need number 2 years to qualify that you can go to the master school. So the whole education plan to get the butcher, you have to think like you go to a college. Mm-hmm. It is not only simple to understand what Brian said, asthma watching and grab some things to clean up. My first day in the butchering business, my apprentice master told me, when you leave in the afternoon, I would like to eat from the floor. I was thinking as a joke. No, it was not a joke. He was eating from the floor. This means how important is that we are clean, that we are working clean. Hygiene, it is very important thing. How fast developing bacteria and everything. This is our daily business. When you are work not clean enough, you can close your store. So this means not only putting a meat on the table and cutting around. No, it is much more. It is cutting, carving. For the whole butchering is curing, making sausages. You have the whole knowledge what you are doing with the meat. Except, for example, you don't sell this meat in 2 days in the butcher shop before it's getting too old. You have to do something with the meat before it's getting trash. So this doesn't mean that we use only 2 days old meat, what is not sold, to making sausage or the cured stuff, right? But what Craig Sean said, you need alone on 2 hogs to make a charcuterie. For example, I need around about 20 pork bellies in the week to making bacons, for example. So, but the whole thing, it takes time to understand everything. It takes time to get with the mathematics. Also, I would like not to hire a guy there. He's failed 2 times to get the driver license. Mm-hmm. But in our business, in our butchering business, you must have a little bit high school degree. Is from advantage. Mm-hmm. So, also, it is not simply a meat cutter or a sausage maker. We are more than this one. And this takes time to do it. Danny, he was how many years you worked before you get the first to do it? It takes time.
Oh, yeah, tremendous amount of time.
All of us. And it is not in 2 or 3 weeks, or what the USDA said, you make a course for 2 weeks and you are a meat cutter. In 2 weeks, you are not a meat cutter. What Danishan said, when you cut a T-bone steak on the bandsaw, you are a butcher. It's not. It's not. It is the whole thing. When we are talking from art of butchery, then this is art of butchery. This is not something what you go by Home Depot and you're making a little course on a Saturday morning. Mm-hmm. It is much more involved, and we don't have the time to tell you this. It's here on the phone. But the best is you are interested. What Brian Sean said, I am open as well too. Knock on the door. We see. I put your meat, a piece of meat on the cutting board. Then I see how you hold the knife, and then we go for it or not.
So I think it's actually a great time in the United States to be an apprentice with all the resurgence, the revival, all these small to medium butcher shops opening up. So I think it's a great opportunity. One of the hard things is to instill is a good work ethic. Showing up to work on time, and that's not on time, 10 to 15 minutes early. If you want to cut a Wagyu, you come in 3 hours early and you just kind of help out. There's always somebody calling in sick. And in this day and age, and we won't go into that, but yeah, I think there's a great opportunity, and you just got to put your nose to the grindstone. And there's a lot to learn. And in the United States, all these butcher shops are, popping up. There's a revival of the heritage breeds, and people are willing to spend money on the meats, from beef. Of course, that's Americano to pork and lamb, and there really is a difference. And the butcher, but it's also about being a smart businessman too. And because we're here to make money, we're here to be sustainable. It's a great buzzword, but what does that really mean? To be in business for the next year so I can pay my employees and all my bills. In the United States, I think there's a lot of great opportunity right now, and hopefully, the young people and the women too. They've been really interested, and the women are just unbelievable butchers. They have better knife skills than the men, and they got a great work ethic. More patient. Yeah. And there's some badass women butchers out there. So. I just want to reiterate that I think it's a great time in America, to apprentice, and there's a lot of opportunity. You don't have to go to the grocery store, the large grocery stores, to learn how to butcher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, like John was saying, I think it's a great time to be a butcher. And the advice that I would give to any young man or woman out there that wants to be a butcher is go knock on the door, go talk to a butcher, and ask them, how do I get my feet wet here? Mm-hmm. A lot of people see what we have, and they see where we're at now, but they have no idea how many years it takes and how many mistakes we've actually made, and the trial and errors that it takes to be at our level. You constantly have to educate yourself. I'm still asking Danny questions every single day, going home and reading a book or going online and trying to educate yourself. You're going to make mistakes. All of us still make mistakes. The best thing to do is just learn from it and get better. But there's a lot of people out there that need to just be patient, educate themselves, not be scared to talk to a butcher and ask them, hey, what can I do? Mm-hmm. But I think it's a great time to be a butcher, like John said. We teach hands-on hog classes here at Taylor's Market, and they sell out. They've been selling out every month. We teach 2 students with 1 butcher to break down a half hog, mm-hmm. and we can't keep these classes online. We have to keep adding classes every month because that's how popular it is right now. Mm-hmm. Like Danny's always he tells me this today, that I was fortunate to get paid to make mistakes. So he was teaching me as I was making mistakes on his time. Mm-hmm. I was fortunate to be trained by an old school butcher, a guy that's passionate, and he's always here to teach you. So if you can find a guy like that, you're on your way. But don't be afraid to ask questions. A lot of people are inferior to asking questions because it makes it look like they've got on their way to being a good butcher. So my advice, knock on some doors, ask questions, don't be scared, be very, very patient, and the future is bright for the world of butchering.
So I can make it quick for you. One thing that, I agree with everything that everybody said. The one thing that I encourage people to do is get a little bit of an animal husbandry background. Mm-hmm. This business has changed a little bit in the fact that the customers are more educated. Customers are asking breed specific for all the major types of animals, the lamb, the beef, the hogs. They're asking how they're fed, how they're raised. 35 years ago when I started, that wasn't a part of the narrative. Mm-hmm. It is now. And I was fortunate that I have an animal husbandry background growing up. on a farm. So, get an animal husbandry background and then find someone who will teach you and be patient. Patience is the key. You can't start at the top. And that's what a lot of people see where we are, and they're like, I want that. There's nobody around this table that hasn't been doing this under 20 years. So, good luck. And every day you just grind it out. So we love the passion of all the new butcher shops that are opening up and people being interested in it. But I've learned a tremendous amount in the 6 months I've been hanging out with these other guys.
Yeah.
And I think we've all learned from each other. No one's come in here saying, I know it all.
Yeah.
We've all looked at each other and seen our different styles and said, oh man, I've never seen that. And that happened the first time we started cutting. Everybody started throwing their bag of tricks on the table. Yeah. And we're like, hey, that's kind of cool. So there's a lot of different ways to get to the end, but it's just patience.
Awesome. Yeah, when I was learning, one of the person said that if you know everything, then there's nothing left to teach you. And so it's just never be the person to say, I got this.
Yeah, completely agree. You're always learning something.
Yeah. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for this. I'll let you guys go, and I want to wish you the best of luck, and I hope you guys win. I hope America wins, and I hope in Sacramento. And
we have a GoFundMe page.
Okay.
We have a GoFundMe page, Butchers of America. There, all the listeners can contribute $5, $10, or more up. It's fine. Each dollar counts. We have not to ship some stuff to Belfast.
Okay.
And we would like not to take it with a boat. But when we pull over the ocean, it has one advantage. Why with a pull boat you can't stop. You can't stop when you hit an iceberg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you hear that, Travis?
GoFundMe/Butchers of America.
Awesome.
Right.
GoFundMe.
That helps, guys, for sure.
Yeah.
We really need a last little push. Sacramento has been great. My city and everybody's cities have been really great. But we still could use a little bit more, just like he's saying, for some shipping needs, display pieces.
We're selling these.
Yeah, we're also selling
Butchers
of America's hats.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll rock it.
For less than $10,000,
We're less than $10,000 away from our goal right now.
Okay.
And we have raised a lot of money.
And
it takes a lot of money.
The practices have been the most expensive part of this whole deal.
yeah.
Because we're from all over the nation. Yeah, they get pretty pricey.
And John, if you just want to text me those links, and then I could I'll share them on my Instagram. And
okay,
fantastic, Travis.
That'd be great. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and also any links you want, just text them to me, and I'll put them in the show notes when I release this in a week.
Okay, Travis. We should also mention the WBC is actually going to live stream the event.
Okay,
I'm not sure what the time will be, but that'd be fantastic for all our fans across the country to be watching us.
Yeah.
Help bring us home. We're going to do it for you.
Yeah, awesome. And when you guys are over there, make sure you talk to Neil and Matthew. They'll be representing the podcast over there.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah. Matthew's an apprentice, so give him he's being hazed pretty hard right now by Neil. So,
good.
Yeah. So awesome. Thanks again, everyone, and I'll put all those links in the show notes and on social media.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Travis.
Thank you.
Hey, one more thing, man. Hey, thank you for what you've been doing, man. This podcast that you're doing is fantastic. The education that you're putting out there is fantastic.
Oh,
I think you're a good candidate for 2020 myself.
Oh, well, thank you. And I'll
Is a fantastic. Is a bombastic. Yeah.
all right. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Take a line.
that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Meat Block Podcast. And I just want to say big thanks to the American team for letting me interview them. Big thanks to John for helping me set it up. Big thanks to Craig, Luther, Brian, Danny, and Paul. After talking to them, I am very confident that they have the skills needed to help bring the trophy to America, or medal, or whatever the symbolism of greatness is. And if you want to support them on their last big push to help them get to Belfast, they're getting there. They just need to get their equipment over there. You can head over to GoFundMe.com/Butchers of America and please make a donation. And please buy one of their swag hats. They look awesome. If I get my hands on one, I will certainly be wearing it to cover up my male powder baldness from here on out. On the hat itself, it says the two things that I love, America and butchery. I also think they had some great advice at the end of the show there. Head over to their Facebook page, WBC 2018 Butchers Guild Team USA, to help support them as well. And speaking of support, if you want to support the Meat Block Podcast, I am not asking for your money. All I'm asking for is that you head over to Apple iTunes, type in the Meat Block, give us a 5-star review, and please leave a comment and tell a friend. Congratulations to Patrick Demps on his baby. And if you want to get a hold of us here at the Meat Block Podcast, you can email us, meatblockpodcast@gmail.com, tweet us at the Meat Block Pod, Instagram at the Meat Block. And if you want to get a hold of me, Travis, American Butcher, the best way to do so is at American Butcher on Instagram and Facebook. Until next time, keep your knife sharp and live in the margin.